Welcome to the kNights podcast. I'm your host, Keikoa, and with me tonight is Ben.
Arr.
Yep, that's him, Ben the pirate. Very piratey.
Now we were just talking about the Pirates dinner and tournament.
I'm pretty sure it's not the tournament, but I mean...
Dinner and show.
Dinner and...
Earlier.
And buccaneering. Is that a thing? Buccaneering?
Yes, before we started. So,
yes.
Yeah.
So you had pirates on the brain.
I guess it's better than pirates in other places.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Hey. Hey-o.
So how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Just okay?
Oh, all right.
All right.
Well, Labor Day weekend's coming up this weekend.
Is
I
it?
guess usually 4 days.
August just started. That's
And
impossible.
Now it's just ending.
Impossible.
Is that crazy?
Yes.
I believe so too. Actually, it's been moving pretty fast. Or it feels like it. You got anything planned for this weekend?
I blame work.
Yes. Yeah, I believe you should.
This weekend?
Yeah.
Work.
Oh,
Work.
okay.
And more work.
Nothing like
I think I have Monday off.
celebrating Labor Day by laboring. I guess you are really getting the full amount out of this Labor Day weekend.
So that I can enjoy the Labor Day.
the laborless day that you're going to get.
Maximize the Labor Day holiday potentialness.
Yes. Really
not
appreciate
working.
the Labor Day by not working on the Labor Day. Oh, that's okay.
Yes.
I mean, it sucks that you have to work, but...
Yeah, normally I go out camping. Roughing it.
That's true.
Disconnect from the grid, away from the NSA.
Well, it's usually, it was always your annual camping trip. I went with you one time. It was pretty cool. I don't think I'd been camping before, or if I had, I didn't really remember it. So it was an interesting experience. I got to go, but you're not going to get to go this time or this year.
No, just different situation this year, so that kind of prevented us from planning it ahead a year before last year.
Like you usually do.
Yeah. Yeah, but we don't really go anywhere local. We go farther away from the influences of the city.
So you could go to campgrounds. There's campgrounds closer.
Yeah, definitely a lot of campgrounds close, but honestly, the ones closer to the city, they're pretty ghetto. Like people come and steal your stuff. Yes.
Yes. That.
Yeah, even going all the way up to, where is it? Lake Kachuma, over. I can't remember where exactly it was. I think it was around like Hearst Castle, San Simeon. I remember going camping over there, and it's like, oh yeah, it was cool and everything. And then our stuff got stolen. I was like,
like by bears?
People.
Smarter than your
neighboring
average bear.
campers. And
So-
it's like those cheap little plastic picnic cloths. So we just lay that on the table, went out to the lake to go doing some lake activities. I forgot what. Swimming, fishing, sightseeing.
Stuff you do with the...
Come back to the campsite. Gone. I'm like, what?
So you got to be aware of... Well, if you go down to the other more local kind of... Well, that wasn't exactly local either. That was like, what, central?
Yeah, but that's still one of the more popular ones. I guess it's more local to up north too. Well, for that area, central. Yeah. Yeah, but over here, this one, it's a drive. It's more out of the way, and there's no cell phone reception once you get to the campsite. Like, it pops in and out every once in a while, but coverage isn't really... You can't rely on it over there. So you got to bring out the old-fashioned walkie-talkies.
I was going to say, like, walkie-talkies and CB radios and...
Exactly. So I put on a
Smoke
big old
signals.
antenna mast on top of the car, and off we go.
Yeah. It was pretty fun. I mean, it's not fully roughing it, like full on out into the woods.
No, but
Nothing
there's
but your
that
wits. How about
option
you?
there, but I try to keep it a little bit more safe, because we try to avoid the bears in the area, and generally where we were camping before, bears were never there, never present. They always stayed up like a mile up the mountain, but they finally came all the way down from there to the campsite. And it's like, I think last year is when it started.
So then now
the drought, lack of food, resources, all that stuff. So they're like hunting further, and they're like, "Oh, there's food here in the dumpster," and they're raiding the trash cans and stuff. So they're like, "Make sure you're done cooking by nightfall," and you throw all your trash away in the dumpster, and you lock the dumpster after you dump it. So it's a little different now, more a sign of the times. And then also, I think last year there was a fire around Yosemite, or was it the year before? But there's another fire this year around there. So it's like, oh, man.
I mean, maybe they'll be all better by the time you do get to go back up again.
Oh, and with the drought. No
yes.
waterfalls.
Oh, right.
Because the waterfalls were pretty sad last year. Was it last year? Yes. And then I'm pretty sure they're either super sad or non-existent this year. And these are the ones that are supposed to have water cascading or trickling down the falls the whole time.
It was probably nothing. And when you were up there, you went to see Mono Lake too, right?
Yes.
I'm sure there's more Monoless Lake now.
Yes.
Or if... I'm guessing is there even a lake there right now?
There is. It's a pretty big lake bed, but the water levels drop significantly. Like, you can see the levels of what the water used to cover, and when you walk up to the water's edge on the shore, if the water levels were at the normal levels, you'd be underwater. That's pretty bad.
And that was when you went last year. So
yeah,
even now it's even worse probably because it didn't get better. It's been getting worse. So
sure,
it's whatever you saw then times even 2 or whatever, even lower. So even less lake.
Less.
Soon gonna be mono puddle. Come see the puddle. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, it's a big enough lake where I don't think it'll completely disappear, but it's definitely suffering. One of the facts about that lake is that it used to be freshwater, but so much water got diverted back in the heyday of the desert cities in the South. South California, like Los Angeles and everything starting up. It became... or they pulled out so much water away from it that it became super salty.
By pulling out water from it?
Yeah. There wasn't enough. I forgot what the video said exactly because I kind of fell asleep in the middle of it. I just woke up at one point I'm like, and this is why the lake has a really high salinity level now and can't host any fish at all, but they do have tons of brine shrimp in the water, and there's periods of where they have just blooms of brine shrimp and the alkali flies all along the shore. Fascinating stuff. Maybe not for everyone else, but if you're a nature person and kind of like to get away and disconnect from the grid, so to speak, kind of reconnect with Mother Nature and all that.
Well, I mean, I think I've heard where they always say it's good every once in a while to do something like that. And especially even now, even I guess more so because as time goes on, it seems to be we're more and more connected to everything. I know I am just all the time connected, and with cell phones being as prevalent as they are, even in the past, 5 years or so, 10 years, I don't know. Because before, cell phones weren't really the thing. At the most, it was pagers and beepers. And then even those, you need to go find a payphone.
Pagers.
Yeah, exactly. That was, the 90s? All the way through the 90s? Or?
Yeah, because I had a pager towards the end of pagers being popular. And I think that was 2000, I want to say.
Yeah, so
Actually, 99 to 2000. Like
So
during
the
that
90s
school
basically
year.
were pagers
Yeah.
and such. Because I remember having, I think,
The Zach Morris cell phone?
I wasn't rich, no. I was no Zach Morris, but like the brick phone that you could just put in your back pocket and tote around like a mini satellite or antenna station. Yeah, no, not one of those. I had a, I wasn't say pager, but I think I had a beeper, and I remember it was when they were kind of getting well, they weren't smaller yet. Like the first one I got was actually pretty small, like the size of maybe a fun size like chocolate bar, like a fun size Snickers or something.
It's pretty big.
Well, not like the thickness, but like it's still small. It was pretty small compared to what they had at the time. Like they used to be bigger, but then I got this one that was smaller than the ones everyone else had before. Before everyone else was going smaller, and it's like, wow, that's so small. That's so small, but they weren't impressed. It wasn't impressive. It was just like, oh, bigger was better at that point.
It's like you can't read the screen.
It was it was
Like
smaller, but then smaller started catching on. By then, I'm like, well, I think by then I had moved on from having a pager, even though I don't think I had anyone. I wasn't a doctor or anything, so I didn't have anything important to catch anything. It was just cool to have one, even though I didn't really have anyone I needed to call, I don't think. I think then I got... I think my first cell phone was a StarTAC, like the Motorola ones.
The one that everyone pined for when it first came out. Like, look at it, it's so small.
Look at the
it's
orange,
so cool.
and it flips up.
And there's a display on the outside, and
it was... Yeah,
fits in your pocket.
I'm pretty sure I didn't have anyone important to call then either.
But you had one.
I had one because it was... I just wanted to have one because it was cool.
But if you went camping, it would be useless.
Useless, apparently. But my CB, that'd be useful. I don't have a CB. But do you have it? No one.
Yeah. Hit channel 19, the highway channel.
You have a CB? Oh, wait, your walkie-talkie has a CB radio.
No, I have a separate CB radio.
Oh, you have a
the
CB radio. Which you like have your handle rubber duck.
Breaker 19, Breaker 19.
I mean, I guess those went out with cell phones and cell technology.
No, they're still around, but those are more heavily used by truckers and then the enthusiasts.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then the hardcore enthusiasts will use CB, even the walkie-talkies, but usually the CBs too, and they'll transmit in Morse code over the CB radio.
Oh,
it's like, that's still a thing.
Yeah, that's because I remember walkie-talkies would come with, like, well, not the really nice ones, but the ones you got at Toys R Us.
Like the Play School ones.
Yeah, they'd work as walkie-talkies, but they also had the Morse code button. But I don't remember knowing Morse code. It was just that button that made it beep. Yeah, beep. Basically. I don't even think I knew what it was for, or I guess I didn't read instructions or anything. But it was just that button that made it beep for whatever reason. It was cool to make it beep because it was really loud. You can hear it from the other one, but
it's like, look, I said hi. Did you get what I said? I said hi.
It's like the slowest Morse code because you're trying to read it off the little guide it has on there. It's like, I don't know what he said.
It's like, but was that a dash or a dit?
dot dashes? I lost it already.
Sauce? Or sauce?
Sauce?
I don't get it.
Like,
whatever. And then I think when I had it, I eventually just switched over to, it's like censoring myself over the
yes,
walkie-talkie, making it sound like I was cussing. It's like, shut the beep up.
I think that's what it was implemented for most with
and
that
like,
no knowledge. I said a curse word, but I didn't say a curse word because it was...
You just think I said it.
Yes.
But it sounds... It's unnecessary censorship.
Way back in the day.
That's how we kept ourselves entertained.
We didn't have much back in the day. Although we had more than before.
I do remember taking those camping, though, like when I was little. and totally disappointed in the range. It's like you walk and you go right around the bend, like not even 200 feet, and you're like, what? I can't hear you. What? It's like, really? It's only backyard distance?
I was going to say, so it's only made for distances where you can actually still hear the person talking.
You have to be within visual line of sight of them or something.
Like if you wanted to whisper, then it'd be good. But if you just spoke up, they'd still hear you without the walkie-talkie.
Like the voice would come in all garbled. But the funny thing is, if you use a Morse code beeping button, then that would still transmit perfectly clear.
Ah, see.
Too bad no one knew Morse
code. No
code.
one knew Morse code.
Like growing up, you're like, hey, it's a beeping button. It just does things. It's like it has this dash and dot thing on it.
I don't know what it does or what it's for, but it has it.
Perfect time to learn it, though.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Too bad it just went right over my head.
It would have been a good point, a good time, but then, you're just like, ooh, what's that?
I'd be fluent right now.
You could be a telegraph operator.
Yes.
Yes.
Or just use it like in the movies, like Independence Day.
I was going to say Independence Day, where they,
Air Force One.
Where it saves the world. I guess if you're in the...
He's using Morse code.
If you're in the military, do you still learn Morse code?
I think you do.
Like in the Navy, maybe? Do they
I don't know if everybody has to learn it, or if it's
like the basicest.
Definitely the signalers do. The ones who like man those lights with the shutters and they're like.
Oh right, right. But I wonder, do they still use all? I mean, it is the easiest technology and kind of always works.
Well, when you're maintaining radio silence and you're like signaling with the light thing, then yes.
Yeah, I guess it'll always have a place then, right?
Or if the Air Force One gets hijacked and you're the president and you sneak into the electrical room and just Morse code how many terrorists there are in the plane, and
that's true as long as whoever's listening
Harrison
knows.
Ford your way to victory.
Harrison Ford his way out of anything.
Yes.
Except walking down a ramp. That's a little bit beyond Harrison Ford's range. He will lose that fight. Unfortunately.
Yes.
But any other thing that stands in front of him, he will be able to overcome. Except that.
With a whip.
With a whip.
Or a pistol.
Or using a pistol, a whip gun.
Pistol whip.
He will pistol whip with his pistol and his whip. When there's his pistol. Yes.
Yeah, but... Oh, and it also comes... The survival gears. Like when you buy the signaling mirrors and stuff. It's like they come with, I think, a sheet, or it's printed right on the mirror on the back side of it when you're trying to signal a plane.
Oh. That makes sense. Because if you're in danger, you might forget or might never have learned.
But SOS is, at least everybody knows that. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short.
Yeah, that's true. But I wonder if... Well, I guess you wouldn't depend too much on technology. But I mean, with like now they have those different things, survival gear that's more sophisticated, let's say, than just, even though the mirror and reflection will always be useful, it'll work in any situation. But then they have
Unless it's nighttime.
Unless it's nighttime. Good point. Yes, so it does have its limitations still. And then you're kind of on your own. But they have other things that have
LED flashlight. That has a programmed SOS built into it on the chip.
Well, because they only have like those emergency kind of things that where you like a strobe effect kind of thing, where you pull an emergency part of it and like it strobes at night or something if you're like lost in the woods
or at sea.
Or at sea, yes. Oh yes, at sea. Like if you happen to man overboard.
Yeah.
I guess that's the technological version of the mirror.
Except I think with the rescue things, they don't go look for you at night. That's the only problem. They're like, oh, nightfall, we got to continue this later when the sun comes back up again.
Which is interesting, because if there's a flashing light, it'd probably be
easier.
It'd be easier to see in the dark. So I'd be like, oh, okay. There he is, the one thing that's kind of poking out in the darkness. If that's how it works. I mean, I like
Well,
to
for
think.
in the woods at least, but I don't
Yeah,
know
in the
about the sea.
woods. Yeah. Well, in the woods they stop at night, or in the sea they stop at night.
I think usually in the woods, it's the woods at nighttime they stop
Oh,
because
okay.
it's too hard to navigate the path at night. Plus, all the creatures, animals come out at night. Nocturnal hunters.
Yeah, that's true. I think because in airplanes, like the emergency, like the rafts and the inflatable stuff, I'm guessing already has that built in with the emergency lights and stuff like that.
And
so
lifeboats on cruise ships, those two.
yes, so I guess they already know best to look at night because we built in these emergency functions and stuff. Even now, I think the technology is getting so much better that you can just throw on a GPS device on them.
Have you seen The Grey with Liam Neeson?
No.
Where he faces off with the wolves?
I saw the trailer.
Okay.
So I know that part, but I don't know everything. I think you might have told me some of the stuff about it. But
did I tell you? Spoilers? All that stuff?
Maybe. I think you did. I don't remember all the spoilers.
I tell you about the watch?
Probably, but I don't remember, so...
Okay, well, Rolex makes a watch where supposedly if you get stranded, you pull the main knob all the way out, and it's supposed to send a signaling beacon to send help to your location, so that they'll send a helicopter to you and kind of pull you out of whatever situation you're in. And I guess if they do that and they come and rescue you, because it's it's a private firm that does it, from what I heard, it's like $20,000 each time they come out that you have to pay them to save you from this watch feature that's built in. Yeah, but that was one of the things that they had in The Grey. And
they got rescued.
Spoilers? No.
I was gonna say, like, they use this thing that's super high tech that will, save your life, and then it doesn't work. I guess that's not advertisement for that. Is there a reason why it doesn't work? Like,
well, they were out in Alaska,
dead?
So I don't know if distance was a thing or.
Well, Alaska's still part of the United States. It's not like they were in the middle of Antarctica or something where it's kind of like, well, we don't really
Alaska
go out
in
there.
Blizzard or something like that.
Okay, I guess that's how it
pipelines.
works. I mean, there's still a lot of Alaska that's just pure wilderness, so it might as well be, the middle of nowhere.
Jack London, an author, wrote so many books about the wild Alaskan frontier. White Fang, Call of the Wild, etc., etc., etc.
I remember, yeah. Well, I don't think I read all of those, but I remember seeing them. White Fang. Well, there's a movie, right?
I think Disney turned into a movie.
Yes, that must be it.
I think both of them.
Call of the Wild?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Both. Yeah, both.
I remember White Fang, or I remember vaguely seeing something about White Fang, and I don't remember Call of the Wild, though.
Yeah, but camping is nothing like that.
Yeah, it's not. Well,
it can
not where we can.
Terribly wrong.
What, wolves?
Wolves, bears, lions, tigers, bears. Oh my!
You didn't have to deal with any bears, though. Hand to hand.
Supposedly not, but there were sightings last year. Like when we went to go check in, there's like, I heard this noise and everything, and my dogs are barking from like one of the neighboring campers. And he's like, so I got in my truck and I turned on my headlights, and there's a bear just like right there at the dumpster and just staring at me. So I was like honking my horn and stuff and like, go, making all this noise, and then the bear ran off. But I think it was more like a juvenile. Supposedly, I don't think it was a full-size bear.
Now, I remember hearing something like, I don't know if it's just wildlife in general, or just bears or something, or like once they're not afraid of humans or something like that.
Yeah, then they get aggressive, and those, like, this is true in Yosemite, where they recognize people, they recognize food containers and food storage containers like coolers and all that stuff.
They can identify a cooler in a lineup. of things.
Like if you have it covered and they see something in a box shape, they'll be like, there's food in there, even though I can't smell it and I don't really see it exactly. That's a cooler. But I can identify it and be like, I'm going to break into your car, smash, and then just rip the door right off the hinges, get in the car.
So when
they eat all your food.
Right, but when it gets to that point, that's when they're not afraid of humans. That's when they kind of got to be put down or something, right? Like if they catch them.
Usually no, they'll catch them and put them somewhere far away, and then they kind of find their way back. It's when they start attacking people.
Well, okay, then yeah.
Yeah, then they go put him down.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Well, but if they're like
if they get too aggressive towards people, then I think they have no choice but to put him down.
That kind of makes sense. I understand that then.
So that's why I try to avoid that, because that runs pretty rampant in Yosemite. Like, you can't camp there without a bear canister to hold your food, and you have to store it in those special lockers, and everything has to be cleaned up
bear
before
canister?
sunset. It is this really heavily fortified, like, miniature plastic barrel, and it has a lid on it that you can only access by using a quarter to unscrew 3 screws. So a bear can't pry it open and unscrew it because they don't have the dexterity, or their claws are too big to fit into the crevices to kind of rip the lid off. So they've tried like pouncing on it, dropping it off things, smashing into rocks, and they won't break because I think it's like ballistic plastic or something.
So at that point, your food is better protected than you are.
Yeah. But they'll run through the campsites and they know people are there and everything. And generally they'll leave people alone because they're only looking for food.
Right.
Yeah, but those sites like that, they have a common restroom area farther away from the campsite, which only has like a sink and a toilet, no showers. So that's really that's more roughing it, but without having to dig a hole, and every time you need
It's a step above that.
Yeah.
Because there actually is a toilet, one.
And they're like, don't shower or bathe in the restrooms. That's not what they're for. Don't like take a towel bath or anything. And don't wash your dishes in there.
In the small tiny bathroom.
And those are a step above from the ones which are really far away from plumbing, where it's a hole in the ground with a seat on top.
Oh, yeah.
You remember those? You just open the door and it's just flies and darkness and like,
and regret and just...
You're like, but I have to go.
You have to go.
Like, how long can I hold my breath? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
And the weird thing is, if you have to do a number 2, it's weird because when you sit on that hole in the ground, there's a breeze coming up between your legs. Just because of how it's vented.
I'm so glad that is not the version of camping you chose.
Yes, but that's up at the lake where you went fishing.
Oh, okay.
Depending on which side you go on. One side has flush toilets. The other side is just the hole. Which I guess the hole is used in a lot of places just because of the plumbing situation. It's like you can't have access to a sewer line up there. I think everything runs off like septic tanks mostly. Unless you're in the city.
And then you're in the city.
Yeah. Like the small city, like Mammoth Lakes area. Yeah.
Well,
and
I
you
guess
get to have good camping food when you go, like hot dogs and hamburgers.
Oh, if they go with
simple
you.
Stuff.
Depends.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You definitely do it up pretty big.
Most people lose weight when they go camping. What are you talking about?
We went hiking and we still, I'm pretty sure, gained weight. It was good. Not complaining because...
Gourmet camping.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I've been after years of you going, so you kind of had it down to understanding what you needed to do.
Well, I had the basics down. It's just the food. It's like, how can I simplify this but still have good food to eat? Because if you eat hot dogs like every single day, you get I'm sure you would get tired of it, and your body would be like,
Yeah, day 2.
no more. I will throw up if you shove this down my throat.
Yes, that.
So I try to mix it up. So I made, what did I make before? Yeah, I made some Peruvian dishes, lomo saltado, orange chicken, spaghetti with like some really rich, meaty sauce.
Camping. Not your normal camp food. Your Italian camp foods.
Yes. Even
Peruvian
some of the
camp
fish
foods.
that we caught, we did like the classic bake where it's like butter and herbs, and then another one where I kind of did more of an like Asian stir fry with like soy sauce and pepper seasonings and all that stuff. And the funny thing is, it's like the first one, everyone ate it and they're like, oh, yeah, it's pretty good, I like it. And then the second one I made, I didn't even have a recipe, I just kind of winged it. And
Like
I'm
you
like,
do.
oh, this is really good. I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, it tastes like kind of like teriyaki or something. It's like something they would have at Panda, like Panda Express rainbow trout. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's good times.
Yeah.
And fun. Kind of. Maybe next year get the band back together. Maybe.
Hopefully it rains. Like we have a good rain and they get a good snowfall, and
That'd be good in general. Yes, I agree.
good for everyone and good for camping.
Yes.
Because it's hard to fish in a lake that's drying up.
Yeah, I forgot about that because you go fishing at that. We went fishing at that other lake, which is really nice and big. When we went 2-3 years ago, but now it's probably significantly smaller.
Yeah, because the lake usually has an outlet, and you can fish the creek as well. But I think the water level is dropping really, really low at that point last year, and with even less rain this year, then maybe it stopped feeding the creek, or maybe it's just trickling into the creek. I don't
Probably.
know, but it's like it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, maybe hopefully there'll be some rain between now and then. Next Labor Day weekend, you go down and it'll be a pleasant experience with refilled waters.
Yeah. It can fill you in all the latest tips and tricks on fishing
And all the new things, yes.
and the new camping food.
Yes, new camping food.
It's like, who's ready to gain another 20 pounds?
Yeah.
Like, damn it. But we hiked like 20 miles in Yosemite and it didn't do anything.
Nope.
I'm just tired and
Yeah,
full.
tired and full, yes. I've added to the calories I burned times 5. But it was good.
But it's good for your overall health and mental state.
I agree. But this year you're not going to be able to go.
No.
And you'll probably be working this weekend.
Yeah, I think I just have Monday off, so I don't know. I might do something like go to Disneyland.
Right.
Again. Not that it's a bad thing,
Hmm.
but yeah, again.
Again. I'm going to be at Disneyland this weekend, actually.
Yes. Your holiday weekend consists of you working out.
Running on purpose. Well,
With purpose.
with purpose.
To get a medal
Hopefully.
at
At Disneyland.
Disneyland Marathon. Which marathon is it? Marvel?
Nah. No, maybe not this year. Maybe next year they'll have that. Well, they already have 3.
Yeah, they have a Marvel marathon and they have a Star Wars marathon.
Like just during the
Which
year?
one are you doing?
No, the one I was doing is there's like on Friday there's a family 5K. It's just a Disney one.
Oh, okay,
Like
so it's just a Disney
Disney.
run. Okay.
And then I'm not sure. I think there's a 10K on Saturday, which I think is just another Disney one. And then there's a half marathon on Sunday.
It's going to be busy this weekend over there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be super busy. So, but then again, our passes are blacked out anyway. So, well, deluxe passes. If you're premium, then you still get to go. But it's gonna be so.
If you run, they won't let you in the park?
Nah.
Oh, right. They were charging. Like, if you want to get in, they'll sell you a discounted ticket to get in.
They have events that take place too that you could go to that also include the price of admission too. So Yeah,
Or
you
should
don't
buy
just,
the super VIP premium level pass.
probably, but it's already kind of expensive just to do the run itself.
It's expensive if you just want to cheer on the runners.
Yeah, it's a price for everything. I mean, I did the half marathon like 4 or 5 years ago for some reason that I can't recall. Oh, it was on my bucket list, and I just had run a marathon on the bucket list, but I thought half would be, I'd check that off still. That was long enough. It's not like I'm a runner or anything. And
So what's the distance of a half and a full?
full's 26.2, I believe, and then the
Miles?
half, yeah, miles. And then the half is 13.1, so half of the regular marathon. Pretty much exactly half. But I don't think I think when you had to sign up in like February or something, or March,
Yeah,
like
those
really
sell
early.
out quick.
Well, when I did it 4 years ago, it didn't sell out that fast. I don't think I signed up till a month after, because I was like, I finally decided to do it. But this time, I talked Carrie into going to the 5K anyway, because it's the they advertise as a 5K fun run. Basically, it's the one for families and stuff. So with your kids, and it's supposed to be fun and not too strenuous. In theory, although both of us don't exercise,
But it's for fun.
it's for fun. So assumably you can mostly just kind of walk it, or fast walk, or
So where do
light
you run?
jog.
Do you run like around Disneyland, in Disneyland, or?
I not sure. I was looking it up, and I'm not sure. I think the last year, the 2013, I found one. It basically started in downtown Disney, and then you run into, I think, California Adventure, and then you run through California Adventure, like through the different areas.
Zigzag. And...
Yeah, through that area. Then you come out of California Adventure and run into Disneyland. Then you run through Disneyland, and then you come out of Disneyland and you run back to downtown
So
Disney.
in a few times we're in the park and they're like, run! Instead of no running.
Yes, it's one of the few times where there's like, keep moving, in theory. So I think it's...
Or we'll sweep you up.
I wonder if it's easier for them to sweep up in the park, because I guess they don't have to go too far. For the half marathon, you have to keep a certain pace. I forgot. It's like a 16-minute mile or something like that. It's not terribly hard, I don't think. I'm not a runner, so I think if you even moderately run, it's not a problem. I'm a 0% runner, so I don't know how I finished it last year, or when I did it last time. I think I did a little bit of training, like I ran around the park a few times, but then that was right after I signed up in like March, and then at some point I stopped, I think, and then it just came up on me. I'm like, oh, I already signed up for this. I got to do it. So I did do it. And I think I've been thinking that, I've been saying anytime anyone's asked that, as long as you keep moving, basically, as long as you can keep going, either a walk or when you can, jog or run when you have the ability, you should be able to finish without, because if you don't keep up the pace, and they have markers every mile with the time, and I think what time you need to be, like how much time before they bring you up in the van, because if they sweep you up in the van, you don't officially finish, and so you don't get a medal, you just get...
But the medal's like the coveted thing that everyone goes for.
Well, you get a medal if you finish. You don't have to finish first, second, or 500th.
But
You just have to finish.
Want the medal, like a pin.
Well, no, yeah, you definitely want the medal because
you
you
paid
for it, right? And just paying for it is not. You're not going to get it just for paying for it. You got to go out there and actually finish, and finish within a certain amount of time. Not a super fast time, because when I did it, I wasn't even sure if I was going to finish. To be honest, I was pretty sure I might get swept up or just have to stop, because I don't know, maybe I didn't run, so there's a good chance I might not finish. So the first part of that one starts off in front of the Disneyland Hotel.
But weren't you taking pictures of the characters? Like,
well, that's the thing. Like, the first part starts in front of the Disneyland Hotel, and it kind of starts, I think it goes the same path as the 5K does, except the 5K just kind of goes through both parks, comes back out, and then that's the end. But in the half marathon, that's just the beginning. So you run through the California Adventure and Disneyland, and they have characters in there that you can take pictures with, or I guess that are cheering you on. But I think they're there. I assume they're there for you to take pictures with. And I was pretty sure I wouldn't be able to finish the marathon. Or I was like, if I don't finish, I want to have something to show for it. So I stopped at every character that was in the parks and took a picture with all of them, because I'm like, this might be I might not get a medal, so this will be my only proof or anything that I have of this race. My only thing to show for it would be, well, I got to, run around the park, take pictures with characters, that kind of thing. So
I'm not lying. Here's proof.
yeah, but I said I stopped a lot, because there's a lot of characters. Or not a lot, but I stopped pretty often in the parks. So I was, if anything, handicapping myself, because then I was burning time that I could spend just at least walking it. So if anything, I made it harder for myself. But even with all those pictures I took,
you still finished.
I still managed to finish too. So
you got pictures and a medal.
So I got pictures of it and the medal, and even during the interesting part is during the path around Anaheim, because that's where the rest of the half marathon takes place.
Yeah.
You run like around the Honda Arena, and then you run into Angel Stadium. And you get to run along the track on the field, which is pretty cool. So those things are pretty cool. But when you're just on the streets of Anaheim and just running, and there's no Disney parts or any of the fun things that, like Disney half marathon, just now I'm just running like normal. Every so often, I guess they had groups performing. Like there was like a mariachi band playing. I think they donated money to these groups, so they'd perform during certain parts of the marathon. When you're running, you'd come up on these performers, and you could, I guess, stand around and listen to them, but who has time for that? But it's still pretty cool to see them. Or like there's the local high school band at a certain point, or I was delirious and I was just seeing things and no one was actually there at any of the spots. But
you're like, you're not a character, keep running.
Yeah. But I was like, ooh, a reason to slow down. Or not that I need a reason to slow down, because I was already moving pretty slow. Apparently I walk very slowly, from what I gather, because at certain points, I couldn't keep moving. I couldn't keep jogging or running. I'd start walking. I was like, as long as I walk what I thought was kind of a good fast pace, but nope, I'd start walking and people started passing. I was like, wow, I must walk really slow, because it felt like I was moving, or I was walking faster than I normally walk. And even then, people were just power walking past me, like really serious.
Your body's like, damn you.
Yeah, they were really good at all this running / power walking. They knew what their goal was, and they were good at it. But that was like 4 years ago, and I was like, well, I finished that. So this time
I was more in shape then.
And I was more in shape. Like I at least did more for this one. I've been saying, like, well, I think if you keep moving, you'll finish. But now I'm actually putting my money where my mouth is, because I really haven't done.
You bought new shoes?
I got new shoes.
Running shoes.
Running shoes.
They just scream running shoes.
They scream something because they're so loud and orange. But I figured, well, if I'm going to get these, make
but
them...
they're comfortable.
Well, they are comfortable. Expensive, but comfortable. But, yeah, definitely... kind of gonna see if it's true, I'm more out of shape than I was then. So if I could just manage to get the medal at the end of the line,
you should be sponsored by them.
by the shoe guy.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't want to sponsor me. They'd want to sponsor somebody who made their shoes look good, as opposed to somebody who happens to own them. Though I guess, like, you could say, well, if this guy could finish in our shoes, anybody could finish in our shoes. It's the shoes that did it.
We made a marathon runner out of this guy.
This guy.
Shoes alone.
With just the power of shoes. Nope. I'm pretty sure I've, not run a mile or half a mile. I've walked many places, but not very far, actually.
So are you going to have to, like, invest in, like, chafing cream this time?
Oh, that was so bad, and I had no idea that was going to be my worst problem. I thought I'd just be sore from just running, and my legs and my muscles would be burning. Who knew it would be my thighs and my nipples that'd be burning? Cause
yes, you need a sportsman's here.
Yeah, I know, and it's funny, but it's actually true. You need something. I thought I didn't get it. I think I'd seen an episode of The Office where one of the guys is like they're doing a fun run or something, but one of the guys is really serious about running, and he puts like the bandages over his nipples or something. And I was like, that's funny. I don't get that. And then after running the half marathon, I'm like, oh, I get that now, because it's after.
I think your comment was like you're running and it started hurting. You're like, really?
Yeah, I was already tired, but then this on top of it, and then that and the chafing between my thighs, like apparently from rubbing against each other, was trying to attempt to start a fire between my legs.
So you need bike shorts and pasties.
Yeah, well, I got some advice this time because I was like, I knew what was going to happen, so I'm like, what do I need to do to like? So someone said to put kind of like you take the Band-Aid and you take the adhesive part and you just take it off the Band-Aid, just put them over your nipples, kind of thing. Just as I'm sure there's more of a gadgety way to do it or more nicer way, but like just
They're
plain
simple. Acting like pasties.
Yeah, basically plain simple. You got Band-Aids, boom, just put them on there, and
it's like an extra layer between the skin and
what it's running against. Exactly. So I was just going to do that. I'm like, well, that's a simple, easy, cheap answer, and I ended up buying compression shorts, which are kind of like tights essentially.
Yeah.
It seems like, and I haven't run in them. So, I mean, I bought them. They fit. I tried them on.
Can you running like they're pulling in all the wrong places?
It could be. I mean, I was going to try them like on the 5K first, even though I doubt I'd have too much problem chafing or anything.
How did I get a Murph? I was picking at it as you're running.
That'd be the whole run, though, because they were really... I mean, I could see them accomplishing what they needed to do, which is keep me from chafing down there.
And
but
keep
then,
you supported.
Yeah. So I see how they're going to work, but I don't know what other things may occur while running in them. So I'll use the 5K as a test ground.
Do they wick sweat away from your body? They should, right?
I guess so. They're like they're tight, so they're right against my body. So
like Under Armour.
Yeah, basically kind of thing. So I'd like to think they would.
Get a full bodysuit.
Yeah. A one-piece kind of neoprene. Trying to lose weight and pass out. No, but yeah, so I at least for garments, I'm a little bit more prepared. Like I got things to basically stop possible chafing, which actually was the thing that laid me up the most after running the half marathon. It wasn't that my legs were tired from walking or anything, and I was exhausted. I just could not move my legs because it was raw. So raw. Yeah, it was rubbed so raw, so badly that it actually laid me up. I guess probably it was probably the same deal where the next day I had off from work, so I had time to recover, and I really needed that time to recover because if I had work the next day, I wasn't gonna go because I don't think I got out of bed that day because it's just like, no, it's not happening. Not to mention my nipples were burning too, but at least if I could have at least stood up, I could have done something. I didn't have to wear a shirt, at least to walk around, but to get out of bed required me the use of my legs to touch each other or anything. So at that point, it was a no-go. So hopefully avoiding that, I'll have at most sore legs and feet and stuff like that, like I expect.
I think the compression shorts are supposed to, well, at least what the areas that they're compressing, it's supposed to kind of, was it like squeeze out the lactic acid produced by your muscles or kind of keep them away from those areas so they'll be less affected.
I don't know. I didn't read too much about them, but they did feel weird when I put them on. Like, I was like, this is weird. This is a different experience kind of thing. So I'm not sure what effects they're going to have. It might be, it might.
So are you just going to run in the shorts or you put like something over the shorts?
No, I think I'd like put on the shorts, then like just a set of running shorts over them. I think. I guess that's how they work.
You're like, I'm not buff enough to
just roll out and just no.
Check out my abs. My compression shorts.
Check out my abs. They're under there. They're there. You just once you get past that first layer and then that second layer, they're there.
Yes.
You just can't find them. But I mean, if I can manage to finish again, big if, then I think that, yeah, I think
I believe in you.
I think anyone could. Well, I mean, as long as you can run, like if you're like really out of shape or like your knees are not good or anything like that or something like that, then maybe not. But if you're like, you could do it. If I could do it, you could definitely.
So, are you going to bring like an energy fanny pack?
Well, the
where
nice
you
thing,
have like little power bars in there and you eat them as you're running.
no, I didn't. You don't really need to because they have stations where they have water and Gatorade every so often, and then I think at a certain point, either the halfway point, maybe it's the halfway point, they actually have like those energy ones, like food, like gels, like an energy gel kind of thing. I think it was just the one time though. I don't know if it's twice, but I remember when I was coming up after passing the Honda Center, I was tired I was really tired by then.
So
like, oh look,
at the halfway
food.
point, you're like two.
I did
one for now, and then like one as you
I think I
further
took
down.
maybe 3 because they were smaller. They weren't like the full size. So I was like, can I have more than one? I think I was like, I better stock up on energy because I'm slowing down here. And because at the beginning it's really cool because you're in Disneyland and you're running. It's really fun. But then once you get to the streets of Anaheim, you're like, I'm just running now.
And the characters go away, and then you
they're
lose
all
that
gone. It's
dizziness.
just you and the road. It's like, this feels like just like a regular marathon now. Now
But
I'm
the
more
finish
tired.
line is back at Disneyland, right?
Yeah, so you run the last kind of stretch, you run from Angel Stadium down to Disneyland.
Which is a long run.
I don't remember it. I can't say I blacked out, but I definitely blocked out that middle section. Like I remember getting back to Disneyland.
What do you mean? It was awesome.
And I remember leaving
You had a
Angel
good time.
Stadium, but somewhere in there, I must have somehow made it between the two spots because I remember once I saw Disneyland, that's where I start remembering stuff again. Because you run in from that back side, and you run along the back end of California Adventure.
Like there's a churro waiting for you at the finish line.
Actually, I didn't know where the finish line was exactly. I mean, I knew if I keep running along the path, I'll find it. But I'm like, I turn
Were you
corners
by
going.
yourself, or
No, I was on my own.
there wasn't anyone else running around? You?
Oh no, there were like other people around. Like I
Like,
wasn't.
they didn't know where they're going.
No, we were all running in the same direction, but it's kind of like, is it around this corner? No. Is it around this corner of the finish line? No. This is a long straightaway. How about this corner? No. So I didn't really know where the finish line was. Pretty much the start line, or it was like near it. I think. Yeah. No, it wasn't where the start line was because the start line's on Disney Way, like that area that goes over and comes to the parking area of downtown Disney. That road that comes off the freeway over the bridge. That's where they start you. Like they have the corrals going all the way up that way, and then the start is on Disney Way, kind of where.
So for someone like you, where do you start? You start at the front corral, back corral?
Holy crap! No, I start all the way at the back,
the very last one.
They ask you when you're signing up. There's a little thing like how fast you expect to run. Like if you're pro or someone who runs lots of marathons and
Like,
runs
I'll
well.
finish this in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, you kind of have that, and then if you're me and like I have no idea, kind of the lowest amount, they put you way in the back. Basically, I think so you don't get trampled because of your slowness, basically,
Your
by
slow
people.
walking pace.
Exactly. Although, in a weird way, it's kind of a little harder technically because you're at the tail end of the marathon. You're right.
So you can get swept up easier.
Yeah, you're kind of easier to get swept up. Although you still have ample time if you're, diligent about it. If you're like really dragging, then you have less time. So I don't think being in the first corral is going to help you too much if you're that slow. So I could see why, because those people that are in the front are really in it to win it. They're really trying to go for their best time and stuff. And I was just trying to go for my survival
also
time.
trying to qualify for other marathons too. So
yeah, so they're definitely going. They have different goals in mind. Mine's was finishing. Theirs was finishing with a purpose. Not me.
There's someone else I know. He's like trying to qualify, and he's running the Disney marathons too. I don't know if he's running in this one, but he's flown to Seattle, to Boston, to Chicago to go run in their marathons and like qualify for. Because you can only qualify for the other marathons if you run in these other prior marathons, and then you have to get a certain time, and then you can move up within the group and be placed in the higher corral and everything.
That's interesting. I mean, the thing that's also interesting about the Disneyland one is there's like a coast to coast medal, like because they have.
Because
there's a full marathon, Disney full marathon, but it's at Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
So they have another one, like I think a Tower of Terror one. They have like 2 or 3 over at Walt Disney World too. So if you can get your butt over there and run in their ones, finish those ones, and then do the ones here, there's a specific medal for running all the Disney marathons.
Yeah.
It's like a coast to coast medal or something like that. But this,
it's a lot of money and a lot of time.
A lot of time spent. So if you got money to burn, you could do it. This time, though, I don't know if this is the first year, but like I said, they have 3 days, like the 5K, I think the 10K, and the half marathon. And then they had one where if you run all 3, it's like it's something Dumbo, like it's some kind of special medal you got, but you had to sign up for that one specifically, and that one went fast because I thought about signing up for it because I was like, well, if I'm going to run
like
these
the Dumbo
two,
challenge or something, like that.
To run all 3, and I thought about it, and I was like, maybe, but in that space of whatever minutes I thought about it, it sold out. I think it was the first thing that people bought that were really serious about running because
they wanna. They're completionists.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of like, well, I'd like to try it if I could. Although, now that I'm really up against it now, I'm like, well, maybe that was the best that I did, and I have that day rest between the 5K and the half marathon because I ain't in shape. So maybe it's for the best that I didn't. Maybe it was like a godsend that I didn't end up. I got pushed out of that one, but the 5K went pretty quickly too because it's just a fun thing. So it's not. The half marathon stuck around for a while because, well, not everyone wants to run a half marathon. So that one had a little bit more time. But the fun run in the Dumbo challenge one was first couple minutes were gone.
Yeah, they announced like a Marvel themed marathon and then also a Star Wars themed marathon. And the Marvel one sold out pretty quick. I think it took like a day or 2.
That's actually pretty long compared to this one.
Or maybe a day.
Maybe a little under a day, but yeah.
And then the Star Wars one is just an hour, 2 hours, or something like that.
I didn't even hear about them, so there you go.
Yeah, as soon as they were announced, they're like, you got to get ready for this and be in line and get ready to do it. And they're like, it's official, it's sold out. I'm like, what? Like, wow.
Because you were going to go into it, right?
No. But they did have like the Star Wars medals and all that stuff, like the themed ones, and you could actually, I think they would have like Darth Vader and Stormtroopers and Darth Maul.
That's cool. You should do it.
People lined up.
It's probably like
it's sold out.
Well, I mean, you could have done it, even though you weren't obviously thinking about doing it. But I think you could. Like I said, look at me and look at you. Between the two of us, the one they're like, that guy could probably finish. That guy definitely is not going to finish. He might need a donut along the way, kind of thing. That'd be me. But I can finish. Maybe. Like we'll see. We'll see if I can finish. Maybe not. Place your bets now. But I mean, it's more just like about heart, I guess. And maybe I'll just alternate between like I gotta finish. I already paid for it, just out of sheer principle. I gotta finish. Just keep on moving. Just keep on moving.
Keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking. and
like, don't believe in yourself. Believe in me, who believes in you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Although I was trying to think about it because since I don't run, I don't have like a running mix, music mix or anything like that.
Just get the awesome mix.
Yeah, that'll last me all of not that much time. I feel like I'm going to be running for a while. I'm going to need more.
I have the Tiger on loop.
Yes. It's the 47th running of this one. I can't take it. I just got to run faster just so it ends faster.
I have the Tiger in Danger Zone. Yeah.
What, alternating back and forth?
The Rocky theme music. There's 3.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about trying to find like a playlist or something.
Spotify. You have Spotify?
No.
Okay. I'm pretty sure someone's made one that you could
Well, the thing
search and
is,
find.
well, I guess I'd have to get the songs myself, though. Because if I was just running it the whole time, I don't have unlimited data. So I'd blow right through that in the time it take me to run.
T-Mobile, I heard they don't count music streaming for certain apps like Pandora, Spotify, and all that stuff. Counting against your data allocation.
Yeah, well, Verizon don't play that.
They don't care.
They do not care. They'll just like
They're the big dogs, the big fish in the sea.
Yeah, I'd burn through that so quickly. So I'm gonna actually have to make a playlist, or at least add a bunch of songs.
Awesome Running Mixtape, Volume 1.
Volume 1. I don't even know how long it's gonna take me to finish too.
Look, Guardians made it into this podcast again.
That's yes. Every time it's gonna be a staple, at least a little bit.
Well, I am planning on seeing it again because they brought it back into D-Box. It was in D-Box for that first week, and then Ninja Turtles took over for a week, and then Expendables 3 took over for a week, and then they're like, we're not selling any Expendables. We're going to bring it back for half Ninja Turtles and half Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's like, oh, I can see it in D-Box, finally.
If you get there at halftime.
Well, I think Turtles is more in the beginning of the day, and Guardians is the last 2 shows of the night.
Well, it seems like Turtles did really well with kids.
I still haven't seen it.
I know.
It tapered off, though, but Guardians went back to number 1. And
well, yeah.
Officially,
but I mean,
now they're the number 1 summer movie.
When it comes to TMNT, it seems like kids still really like it. They don't mind all the other stuff.
Yeah, kids don't know what they got these days.
They don't
they didn't
mind
grow up
all
with the original Turtles.
The lack of nostalgia.
They don't know.
They just like it. Which, I mean, I can get next to. You know, they just enjoy the fighting turtles. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what I like too. So I get it. I can't not see everything else because I'm an adult. So I see all the other flaws that are in it where they just kind of don't really notice or just get bored. And then once the fighting starts, they're back on board and they don't really care that other stuff happened.
It's like, it was awesome. I just remember the good parts.
Right. Basically that. So that's how they see it. But I think it'd be pretty cool to see in D-Box. I mean, that's what we always planned to see it in.
Yeah.
Except just never got to.
Well, this one, we saw it opening day because we just had to see it because we knew D-Box wouldn't be an option because it's sold out so quick.
So there's no point in waiting for it because we weren't going to get them. But we still wanted to see it, so we just went and saw it.
Yeah, we saw whatever show we could get.
Right. That worked out well.
But now they're in D-Box again, so now I can see it a second time.
Yeah, but when are you going to go have time to see it?
I don't know.
Before it leaves again. You're going to miss it twice now.
You
might have to see it Labor Day. Your one day where you have time to see it.
Maybe.
Only maybe, too.
That could be your marathon reward.
If I get up, like, hopefully I'm not incapacitated. By then, Carrie will be fine because she'd only run the 5K, so that's 3 days later. So she should be okay.
So she cheering you on for the half marathon?
I don't know. She was
like, I'm gonna sleep in
because she was really cool actually when I ran it the first time many years ago. We just barely started going out really, and she woke up at I don't even know 4 or 5 in the morning.
The butt crack of dawn
to go and to cheer me on, which consisted of like I was the back corral, so she couldn't even see me until I got to the start line, and she saw me run by.
It's like yay,
and then cut to 4 hours or something later.
4 hours.
I don't know. It was a long time. I don't remember how much time. Maybe it was only 3 hours. It was at least 3 hours of not seeing me and just kind of hanging out. And at this time,
GPS tracker. It's like, oh, there he is. I still got time.
Oh no, she had plenty of time. I don't think she was so much worried about that, but she didn't have anything to do because at the time she didn't have, like right now she has her iPhone and her 3DS, so me being gone for 3 hours is not a problem actually, I think. So if she needed to just relax, or she just go back to the car and sleep, is also an option.
Possibly that.
Yeah.
Most likely that.
But all options for
That's
her. But I don't think she, I'm not sure. She said she's probably not going to come this time, and I can't really blame her because there's not really anything to do other than see me when I leave, and then when I come back, what's left of me comes back, and then that part. So I mean, it's up to her.
It's like hug, squish.
Yeah, no, no. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. I'd just be like, nope, I'm kind of moist
And slosh
all
back
over.
to the car.
Yes, kind of just sweated out everywhere.
They have the running expo too in the hotel, right? Before the thing actually starts. So you go pick up your bib. And
Correct.
all that.
It's tomorrow because today is Wednesday. So it's on Thursday, it's from, I don't know, like 12 to 8, but we're working. So we didn't want to take off work just to go to it. But we're going to go down there like around 4 or something. And we had to go pick up our stuff. Yeah, like the bib. I think you get a shirt.
They're sold out of the cheer squad package where you can pay to watch along the route. But they said that you could still purchase them within that expo.
Oh, so you could go to the expo?
Yeah, online they're sold out. But if you wanted to still try to get in to be part of the cheering team, to cheer on your runner.
So you're gonna come over and cheer me on, right? You get to go to the park. Wait, how does that even work? Because I mean, it's free to stand and cheer outside the park because it's just the street. So I guess the cheer squad gets to go into the park and cheer,
and possibly get meet and greet with the characters.
Maybe I hope so because it's not.
It's like $70 something.
Yeah, it's not cheap and it's not free. But I mean, to cheer for somebody who's probably going to
You're not riding anything. You're just standing there.
You're just standing. I assume. I don't know. I actually don't know what the cheer squad does. I saw it on there. I'm like, what is this? But I was busy, having to purchase other stuff that just blew right by it.
Before it sells out. Come on, go through.
Yeah, well, part of me. And then the other part of me is like, well, if it doesn't happen, then I'm not running. So there's that.
So you're like, I don't care either way. Maybe not.
I would, but although I would like to because I've spent time now. And it's kind of that, well, now time's been spent. I must get in.
So do you have the running bug? Are you addicted to running now?
I have yet to run, actually. I don't think I've run this year at all. 2014, runless. Until now. I don't even think I've ran by accident.
So years ago, you say, the last time you ran. Years.
When we signed up, I think we were like, okay, we're going to start running. We're going to go to the park. We're going to do some walking at first, then move up to jogging, do that step. Months passed, and here we are. Running not accomplished.
You get off after work, you're like, I'm just too tired.
0% running involved.
I'm not motivated.
I to be honest, do not know what the outcome's going to be. I can't say, I feel like I'm prepared. I have no idea what my body's going to do at that point. It could just shut down.
Well, like I said, I believe in you.
You believe in me, and I believe that you believe in me. Believing in you, believing in me.
Even though you don't believe in yourself.
Except I don't believe in myself.
Yes.
Except I believe in myself enough to pay for it.
Have faith in me who has faith in you.
So past me has faith in future me, but present me is a little bit dubious of future me at this point.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Right? I think that, yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
It's a little dubious. I don't know. I think I can do it. I feel like I could do it. I'm optimistic. Although, once I'm on that street...
She should be out there holding up the sign and go, you can do it!
I'd actually, if you guys were there, if there was a cheer squad, I'd actually stop and hang out with them for a little while because they paid to be there. So, like, if you were there or if Carrie paid for it, even though I wouldn't want her to pay for it.
It's like, I can't stand being swept.
No.
They're right behind me.
Yeah, there's no one right behind me. I'm in the last corral. That I just didn't want to be the last. When I started running, I'm like, I just don't want to be the last person running, like just way behind the pack. So, and especially at the beginning, you're moving really quickly too. You're just full of energy, so you're just like moving along. Actually, the first part of the run, like after you go through the start line and stuff, you go around the outside of California Adventure, like on the street. I'm not sure what street runs along the backside. Like Disney, you start on Disney Way.
Harbor?
Maybe it's Harbor. Yeah, maybe it's Harbor. So you
Yeah.
run all the way down Disney Way, and then you go around the corner onto Harbor. Then you run all the way down Harbor, and then you
To-
come up the other street.
Was it Catella?
It might be Catella. I'd have to look at a map, but you start on Disney Way, and then you run down to what I think is Harbor, and then you run basically around just the outside of Disneyland, really.
Run. I gotta run.
And then when you get to the other side, that's when you come in the gate into California Adventure, and then you're running in the backlot area of California Adventure.
The back gate?
Yeah, there's I think it's like a gate where you usually don't come in. Like I think they have cast members or stuff that they bring in that way, but you're in the back area of it, and you're just running along the back end, kind of parallel to, I guess, Harbor at this point. You're just running parallel to it.
Oh, it's a Catella that runs on the backside of
Oh yeah, sorry.
California Adventure.
So you
Harbor runs.
So you run down Disney Way, I think.
Yeah. And then you turn onto Catella.
Onto Catella, run along Catella, turn back up Harbor, and run back up, and then you go into the park, run back down parallel to Harbor, run back parallel to Catella. So you're like backtracking all the way from the beginning, but now you're inside the park. And then finally you're like on stage, like the actual area where you'd usually be in California Adventure. Finally.
Yeah, like, ooh, the pier. Ooh, Cars Land. Ooh, stuff.
Yeah. Actually, when I ran it, Cars Land wasn't open yet. So now it's going to be probably a little different because they'll have Cars Land open.
You'll run through the...
Probably
run down the highway.
Yeah, probably run down the highway. That would be awesome, actually. And then you run all the way down.
You see Mater and McQueen. Ka-chow!
Stop to take pictures like you do. And I think you got all the way... You run through there, go into Disneyland, run through Disneyland, run to the backlot area of Disneyland. So, you know where the train goes over the in the backside?
Oh, yeah. Like where all the bands line up for the parade.
Yeah, that area right there where they have that. So you go, and where the trains end up, like I guess they're...
In the roundhouse out back.
Yes. Yeah. You go into that backlot area, and you're running back there.
Like, I'm so disillusioned.
Actually, I thought it was really cool. I was just taking pictures of everything. I'm like, I'm in the backlot area.
You're like, no pictures.
No pictures.
Give me that film.
I just take my camera and smash it. It's like my camera.
It's like I need to see a memory card. I need to delete these photos.
I need to delete these photos. Although the funny thing is, they give you in the pack that I got 4 years ago, like the running pack with my number and my shirt in it. It also came with a disposable camera, and I was like, okay, but I guess I'm supposed to use this while I'm running or something.
You're running, you're like click,
Zit, 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 zit.
click. Hold on, I gotta charge this flash. Click.
Exactly. That's. I was like, I still have it too because I just kept the pack because I didn't use the camera because I didn't need it because I had my own camera on my phone, so I'm like, I'll just use this one. But I found it recently, like, oh yeah, the camera's still in the plastic wrapping. I don't even think they sell disposable cameras really anymore.
They do.
They do?
Yes, they do.
Are they expensive?
For what you're getting these days compared to digital and how much pictures you can take, yes.
Yes. So then
plus you still have to develop.
Yeah. Oh, add that too. So eventually you run out of Disneyland, you end up on Ball Road, and then you're like, at that point you're just running around.
And then you come back down Disneyland Drive, right?
I think you...
To the start/finish line?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Nope, you instead of going left towards Disney Way, you make a right and you head towards like Anaheim Boulevard and stuff. So I think you run to Ball Road, then make I think a right on Anaheim, and then you end up back on Catella. I think, and then you're running along Catella a long time, I think, because at some point after this, you're running until you reach the Honda Center. That's the next kind of checkpoint is that you reach. I'm not sure how I got there. I turned down a few streets. Maybe it's over here. Yeah. Yeah, you basically run until you reach that, and then you run kind of along the aqueduct, or I guess the river or whatever it is that channels the water out to the ocean or whatever. you run along that, and then you come out next to the Angel Stadium, and then you run into Angel Stadium. You
The Santa Ana River.
is that what it's called?
Yep.
Ah, so maybe it's not.
Yeah, Honda Center, Santa Ana River, and then
Yeah, so you go into the Santa Ana River, like there's like the running path alongside it. You come out next to Angel Stadium, run into Angel Stadium, and out of Angel Stadium. And then I guess you get maybe back onto Catella again. And then you run, I think, all the way back to Disneyland. Yeah. You
fun.
take Catella all the way back down to Disneyland. And then...
See, that doesn't interest me in doing that.
Yeah, running all the way, run.
It's like, can I just run the parts that I think are cool?
Yeah, as the parts that don't feel marathon-y.
And can I pay less because I'm just going to run only that part?
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what the 5K is, though. It's all the fun parts of the run.
It's so crowded, too.
Well, that's true. Well, I don't know. Maybe it spreads out once, if you slow down at the beginning, that everyone run past you.
But then you don't want to be swept, too, so you got to keep up at least a decent pace.
I don't know what the pace is for the 5K, to be honest. I mean, 5K is only, I think, 3 miles long, so... even at your slowest, it should only take you less than an hour or an hour to run. I think it's a 16-minute mile they're shooting for, at least in the half marathon. So I'm not even sure what the 5K pace is.
What was the mile that you had to run in PE in high school?
I don't know, like a 10 or something. Or it might be short. I've never been a good runner.
Okay.
Even when I needed to during PE, I was definitely on the slower end.
Yeah, I remember for the final, they're like, if you can run the mile in less than, it was like 13 minutes or something like that, then you'll get an A on your final. And there are people who they couldn't be bothered to run, so they're just walking and talking. And then the teacher's like, hey, time's coming up. You want that A? You got to pick up the pace.
It's weird, too, because...
And then they got like a C and they complained.
There's that. There's the people that walked, but then there's the people legitimately that probably had trouble running a mile. And it's not like PE really trains you to run a mile.
No, the
ones you're talking about are just people that...
Yeah, they...
were slackers, basically.
Yeah, the guy who had trouble running and you think he wouldn't have finished, he did finish. And he passed him.
Well, okay. Then
I think he
that's the only thing I could think of, because PE doesn't really prepare you for anything specific, any sport specifically, other than hopefully getting you some exercise between your non-exercise classes, I think.
It's also a way for the teacher, who's usually a coach of one of the other sports, to kind of vet the people who go in and be like, what do you think of cross country, or what do you think of track and field, or something like that. It's like,
scouting out.
Yeah, because I got scouted kind of by the PE teacher. He's like, you ever think about joining cross country or track and field? Yeah, because I was racing this other guy. It's like, I'm going to beat you. So then I was ahead, and then I got winded at the end, and he had his second wind.
More of a
And
sprinter.
he passed me, and I'm like, and I couldn't keep up, so I came in like just a second or two behind him at the finish line. I'm like, oh, man. And it's like, you two guys are fast. So he ended up being kind of pulled into, I think, both cross-country and track, because the schedules are off.
Right.
And then I'm like, I went into golf. A walking sport. It's more my pace.
Plus, that's what your family does,
Don't
right?
need to break a sweat.
They're all...
Well, it was my dad.
They're pretty much a golfing family.
Yeah.
That's your sport of choice for the family.
Yeah. It's where my dad just kind of starting out to try to lower his cholesterol, stress level, and all that, and it became a thing.
Oh, so he did it. He didn't always do it. He just did it later on, for a specific reason, and then it kind of became a family thing at that point, where you're like, well, he's doing it.
Mostly him, and then my mom, and then my brother to an extent, and then I haven't done it since high school.
So your heart did not lie in your golfing future.
Yeah, I was on the team, but I'm like, I don't need to. No.
That's as far as you went with it.
Yeah. because it's expensive.
Well, I mean, you went to one of the richer end schools in that area, so assumably you had money. You came from money, right?
Nope. I came from the east side, and I went to the west side on a permit.
And you got swept up because
you were on the north side.
Yes,
and there was a south side.
And the south side.
South side was the rich side.
I thought west was pretty, if not south. Oh, well, okay, south was
Yeah.
Well, I mean, south never
the ones
struck
who got
me
in
as
trouble
that.
in south because they had too much money got transferred to west, and like, I gotta be here with these losers.
Yeah, and to me, like, north was the lowest on the total pool. Then maybe Torrance west. Actually, at the time, I thought it was Torrance south then west. But apparently, now that I think about it, yeah, south is kind of closer to, like, the richier area. So
Yeah.
I think of it that way. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense why south would probably be kind of more richer than west.
Because it's right there next to Redondo Beach at the foothills of PV. Rolling Hills isn't too far away.
Oh, yeah. So I thought my school was more on the barely making it into the cusp of areas, although it was any of the schools in Torrance were good, so it wasn't like I was in a bad area. I was just kind of in the lower end as Torrance schools went.
Yeah, the other school I would have went to, I think they had like metal detectors and all that other stuff, and my mom's like, nope.
What the heck was that?
LAUSD.
Oh, okay then. Yeah. Okay. I thought you would have just ended up at a different Torrance school or something.
No, because I was Torrance, but I think it was in the Torrance PO, which is not considered Torrance City.
Oh.
Or
Just
something.
outside.
So, but technically, like, if you lived in that area, you'd be LAUSD instead of Torrance Unified.
That was
School
before you moved, though.
District. Yeah.
Because, I mean, where you lived, or where you were living when I knew you, that was definitely within area.
Yeah, because that one, they're like, well, you got to move closer to your school because you're having, like, permit issues. They don't want to give the permit anymore because I guess they were getting overcrowded.
Yeah.
So, like, unless you live here. So, like, okay, fine, we'll move.
Okay. That's what I had to do, too, eventually. But, So, yeah. Well, going back, so...
Oh, running.
Yes. So you were more running than I am, then. I mean, you
not
came
by choice.
Well, not by choice, but you have the ability to do it. You could do
not
it.
that I exercise.
Because you don't need to, stick man.
Exercise that ability.
You just choose not to. Whereas some of us, we'd have to work in order to even get to the point of maybe being able to choose for where you are, because you are definitely a lot more svelte than.
So I'll be cheering you on with the cheer package, and I'll be like, Whopper, Big Mac.
At that
churro.
point, it's just like, just water. At that point, liquid hydration. Although they do have like the stations with the cups and stuff.
I'll give you a water bottle as I'm sipping a Slurpee. They're nice and cool. And
They had the stops where like they were stocked by volunteers. I think that Disney gives them a cut for like helping out, but I'm like grabbing different cups and just like, and then.
So do you take like a cup of water and just dump it on your head and then keep running?
I'm already sweating a lot, so
but it's
more
cold
wetness.
Cold water.
I think I was wearing headphones too at the time.
Waterproof headphones.
Yes, I guess I could have done that. I just wanted to put it in my body. It was more what I was worried about.
Put it in your mouth.
Or, and unless I got the water mixed up with the Powerade that was next to it, then that wouldn't work out too well either. Just dumping Powerade on my head. But it's funny because you had this table full of cups that they were refilling, and then, I don't know, 10 feet further up, you just had this like landfill of paper cups just sitting around there of people that just threw them down while they were running because there's no trash can or you don't have time to stop. So you just have this landfill of paper cups.
Volunteers come out and be like,
yeah, they had
stop.
No, they had people just with brooms like just corralling the cups. after like it just got out of hand. So I think they knew what was going to happen, but not much you could do. It's just like, well, thanks for drinking the water. Leave
And
the cup
littering.
anywhere. Yeah, basically.
Jerks.
At first I was like, I feel bad throwing this down, but everyone else seems to be doing it.
Like, no one's watching. Toss.
I was like, whoa, I dropped my cup, but I got to keep running. Everyone else was doing it, so I had to do it too, because I wanted to look like a professional runner, even though I was way in the back. But that's what professional runners do, right? They just crumple it up and throw it and litter. And
They take a swig, dump the rest on their head, crush the cup, and toss it and keep going.
because they're in small cups too, like small Dixie cups. So I was thinking, maybe you can run by and just like shoot them, like as you're doing shots or something. Just like run by the table and just like shot like a bunch of them in a row and like
And toss them as you're doing it.
And just toss them over your shoulder like you're like at a bar or something. Like, I don't think that's how you do it. It's like, that's how I do it. That's how I does.
That's how I roll.
But yeah, I don't know what to expect. I'm looking forward to it, but yeah, we'll have to see and basically see what I'll get back to you next Wednesday and see if how well I've recuperated, possibly, or haven't if I'm not here. Assume the worst. Assume I didn't make it. I guess yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, should be a fun and tiring weekend. And, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. What else?
Oh.
Tidbits for Disneyland this week. Something new that I heard or I came across. You know how there's Duffy they were trying to push Duffy. Started in Japan, Mickey's teddy bear.
Right.
Duffy the Disney bear, Mickey's companion. As he was traveling. Apparently they tried to bring it over here and translate the success over in Japan to the US market. Didn't quite take off. So now they're doing a new approach, and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit now is going to take over for Duffy. And he's going to be a new park character. Like he'll be walking around, take pictures with him and all that stuff, and try to generate more merchandise sales, where Duffy's kind of just been sitting there and languishing and like, oh, he's cute and everything, but I don't really know who he is.
Well, you guys were fans of Duffy.
Yeah, but not everyone else.
No. I'm not, because I didn't gain the attachment or anything. So yeah, I'm on the outside looking in. You're on the inside looking out.
Yeah, so it's more for the hardcore fans. It's like not everybody knows Oswald, but the Disney fans, I guess they would be more the market. And I guess that at the same token, those would also kind of be the locals who go like, oh, this is the classic one. This is the Mickey Rabbit.
Well, I mean, it's already got actual history, whereas Duffy, you trying to create something just whole cloth out of thin air. Whereas Oswald, I mean, not a lot of people know him, but he does have a history already with the company. You're really just reintroducing the character and just trying to push it that way. Whereas Duffy, there was nothing really to latch on to. There was just like, here's Duffy, and you're like, oh, that's cool, that's cute, but there's no back thing to like, oh, he was in these, or here's his cartoons that he was in.
Yeah, they just kind of
just here's some merchandise that's cute. And I mean, it could have worked. I mean, I guess it did work to a certain extent. There are people who really like the Duffy stuff, but at least it seems like the Oswald might have an interesting, at least backstory. So people are like, yeah, he was here before Mickey was here, kind of thing. And it's weird that they push it. I mean, it seems like they're doing it now as their own thing, but it kind of seems like a missed opportunity, because when they were doing Epic Mickey and Epic Mickey 2, when the studios were doing that, they centered around Oswald. So that's when he kind of got his re-push during that time, because they were using him as spoilers. In the first one, he's the main villain kind of thing, but he's not really. He's kind of but he's one of the main characters of the world. And the second one, I think you play as him more often. But at that time, that's when they came out with the Oswald ears and stuff, and the Oswald merchandise. So it was like a mini push.
Yeah, that kind of started out E3, and then people were like, "Oh, where'd you get those?" It's like E3.
Yeah, so they were pushing it with the game. So then would have been a good time. But I mean, they were still pushing Duffy at that time. So now they're swapping gears.
But the funny thing is, like, Duffy originally in Japan didn't do so well. I mean, I get the concept and everything, and
it didn't do well in Japan, or didn't do well here?
No, over here.
Okay.
Japan, just crazy. Like, even they've introduced him at the parks and the Disney stores in the U.S., and mostly the tourists from Japan would come here and buy them. And they're like, it's so much cheaper over here than it is in Japan. In Japan, it's like twice as much. It's crazy. And just didn't really catch on over here. But I think the other thing that just recently was another trend is the Disney Tsum Tsums. And I'm sure you've played the game. Like, a lot of people, well, by now, more people have heard about it. Would you say it's like, I don't want to say Candy Crush. Candy Crush-ish.
Yeah.
But matching. But then it's more characters. Like, instead of having little colored jellies or anything like that, it's actually the characters, like face characters. And that's taken off in popularity, like over here. It's even made People magazine, where they said, it's the next big thing. It's the next Japan invasion. And in the stores, they've really been selling, like, as once people realized, oh, this is where you get them from, and this is where it is and what it is. Well, not even really what it is. They don't understand. They're like, it's so cute and so cool, and you can stack them and everything, and people just snatch them up. Like, they don't even last very long as soon as they're put out. It's crazy. But yeah, so Oswald, he's coming back into the park. So they're kind of doing a little bit of retro thing. And I think the other thing is they're gearing up for the 60th new fireworks show and everything, that they're planning on having like all these crazy new, way over the top fireworks that compared to what they have now. Because you know how they shoot them off in the hub area.
Which one are they running now still? Believe?
I
haven't
don't remember. Where'd my paper go?
I have not been in a while, unfortunately, since I still have my annual pass. I feel bad that I haven't been. I've really been flexing it recently, so definitely feel like I want to go back. And if they are changing it for the 60th, I liked the Believe fireworks show. I just haven't really been, so I think it's time to take a few more, take some more time out over there.
It is.
But
oh, Magical. Disney's Nighttime Fireworks Spectacular.
It's not ringing a bell, but
yeah, I believe it's the older one. But what they're doing this year, they're kind of recycling something that's a lot older, so that they can prepare all the equipment for the 60th, where they can have even more stuff shooting off and all this extra technical wizardry in getting more of a wow as you're standing in that middle section, which is going to make it even more crowded.
As if it's not bad enough. You have to like start sitting there like 2 hours at a time to get to be able to just fit in there. It seems like, and
yeah.
If it's going to be that much better, because I used to like standing at the train station for getting not the same effect, but a good enough effect where you weren't in the middle of it. But now, if they're going to really focus on that middle hub area, and that's going to be super prime position.
Well, they're working on like 2 side bypasses along Main Street. So the Main Street they're already anticipating is going to be packed, but for people who want to travel, then you don't have to go through that Main Street area. There's going to be 2 side corridors, the east side and the west side. So you can take the east side and go to Tomorrowland directly, pretty much, and the west side, and I think it lets you out around Adventureland.
Well, I mean,
like directly.
Yeah, they've been trying to work that out. Just trying to work out on Main Street, trying to do that as just like this lane's keep moving, this lane's keep moving.
That's something that they just they're leaving Main Street alone and they're building.
Well, I
into the
mean,
backstage
now
area.
it's what they're doing is basically trying to do that. So it'll be good when they have actual areas outside of just people trying to cram down Main Street. Like,
Which
well, stay
is-
on this side and keep moving, stay on that side and keep moving kind of thing, which
It's like worse than driving on the 405.
it's pretty bad. I mean, it's a hard thing to do because like you've got these fireworks happening and you're like, stop looking at the fireworks. And I'm like, but I want to look at the fireworks. I can understand the need to want to stop and watch. It really does draw the attention, unless you're a jaded pass holder and you don't care,
Or you just hate fireworks, like some people I know.
or you just really do not care for fireworks. Also an option. So,
No,
other
but
than that, yeah, well, because I always tried to, even now, try to walk through the shots as much as possible. Anyways, if I need to get from one end to another as
and then
much
you
as
get
possible.
distracted and you're like, oh, look at this. I gotta buy it.
Or I'd get to a part where I had to go out into Main Street because there was no way through, and they were like, So those quarters on the side, they would be really, really helpful, actually. That'd be really good. The back alleys of Main Street,
Yes.
the shady areas of Main Street.
Yeah, but they're actually abandoning having the fireworks being shot off from the middle of the hub, like on the castle and the surrounding buildings, and they're going in favor of. You remember Fantasy in the Sky? A fireworks show that ran a really, really long time. I'll give you the years: 1957 to 1999 is how long it ran.
Wow!
And that's the fireworks that just shot exclusively from behind the park,
Okay.
like in the Tomorrowland area.
Well, yeah.
And they never used any of the central hub buildings to shoot off the fireworks.
I figured during that time, since they were running the same fireworks show from that long, they didn't have the safety or whatever or the technical know-how to do it from where they do it in the hub.
Yeah.
Not that they didn't want to, they just couldn't do it the way they wanted to, and then eventually they got the technology to do it, but now they're really saying they're going to not do that anymore?
Temporarily, just because they're prepping for the 60th, so they have to get all this other stuff in, so you're going to be able to have a bit of nostalgia and see the old fireworks for this.
Are they
coming
running that
winter.
old fireworks show? That fireworks show, or they're just running a show without the fireworks in the hub?
No, they're running the old show.
Oh,
And the
okay.
old show didn't utilize the hub at all. It only
Right.
utilized the launch areas behind the park.
Right. Yeah, okay. Because I was like, maybe they're just doing the current one. They're just taking out all the fireworks that happen in the hub. And I'm like, well,
That'd be weird.
Yes, it would be.
It's like, is this haunted room actually stretching? Boom! Like, wait, there's no boom. What the
There's
heck?
no nothing. Yeah, exactly. So
I don't get it.
I thought that was what you were kind of saying. But you're saying they're actually just going to be doing the old show, which happens to just all take place in the back area.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't know if I remember it, because if I do, I'd only been to Disneyland either once or twice during that time, because I didn't have an annual pass at that time. So I'm pretty sure I only went a few times during when you said that fireworks. So maybe if I see it, it'll be like, oh, I'll like feel all nostalgic for it. But nothing's popping into my head. What was it called?
Fantasy in the Sky.
That name sounds familiar. Because, but I don't know. I guess I'll have to see it sometime. And then, well, I guess I'll get a lot of time to see it when they re-show it again. But yeah, that'll be cool. And whatever they got planned for the 60th. When's the 60th start?
Next year.
Oh, that's pretty quick. Wait, so this other fireworks is supposed to go from when to when?
I think once the Halloween season starts.
So September sometime and mid-September
I think so.
through to the beginning
Throughout
of next.
winter. Because I don't think they're going to bring the Christmas fireworks back. I think they're just running with this.
That's
Yeah, but they had the soundtrack for it on the CD. You can actually hear it right now.
Well, I mean, I still
So-
need to watch it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they're gonna get rid of they're not gonna have the winter ones. That's a little weird.
Did the winter ones utilize the hub?
Only the snow part. I don't think they have. I don't think they use any fireworks up close. Wait. Actually, I'm not sure. They might have the castle ones, I think. I don't think they had the ones that were around the hub, but I think they might have had something on the castle, but I can't remember.
Yeah. They weren't really clear on the Christmas ones. From reading this article, it seems like that's taking over, but...
Well, I mean, even if it is, since, like I said, I can't remember if they had the hub, I wouldn't know it was missing then.
Yeah.
Even if I saw it, so
it's
they
just
might...
the snow.
Yeah, but that's the main thing. That's what a lot of people look forward to during the winter one, is the snow, even though it's not that great, but I mean, it's still something different than just fireworks. Carrie's not really a big fireworks person, but she likes the snow part, and
well, the way that you tie it in, it just makes it you feel all warm and gushy.
Yeah, it does. Like, it works well. Well, then again, even there'd be times when when the wind wouldn't allow them to run the fireworks show,
and then people are like,
"Boo!" But they'd still run the snow because it didn't matter. There was windy down below, so I think they apologize for not running the show, but then they'd do the end part of the show where they run.
What if they
White
run
Christmas.
the Fantasy in the Sky and then they finish out the fireworks with that end loop music and just run that? Because they can run that separately.
Yeah, that's true. They could still do that. So yeah, then you get the best of both worlds. You get the old show, and because like I said, they didn't need the fireworks to run the snow. So
yeah, because as you can hear the music right now, it's pretty like classical, like all the old Disney classics. So it's not really tied to any particular season,
right?
And just haven't heard this in a while, but yeah, this takes me back. So yeah, that's what you have to look forward to. Or that's the new tidbits that I have this time.
Disney Tidbits, brought to you by Ben.
Yes. You got anything else?
No, I think that's it for now. I guess that's it. Yeah, I think we're good for now. So, thanks for listening to the kNights podcast. I've been your host, Keikoa, with Ben.
Yarr. Yes, I remember.
Yes. Till next time.
Next time.
I'd leave my headphones on, but my ears get all sweaty.